4 minutes past, so thank you for coming. I'm Nicole Grohe. I am the CDBG administrator. Today we are here to go over the Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report for 2022, also known as the CAPER. Briefly, I'm just going to go around and we'll introduce ourselves so we can get that in the minutes. I'll let you know what, we'll go this way.
Okay. Jeff Berquist, I'm with Berkshire Hathaway Professional Real Estate Profession.
Diane Corso with the Erie County Board of Developmental Disabilities.
Ralph Chamberlain with Erie Metropolitan Housing Authority.
Dan Rambler, Sandusky City Schools. Hi, Tim King, Erie Regional Planning Commission.
John Flake, representing.
Stephanie King, Crossroads.
Thank you. And then Quinn.
Quinn Rambo, with the city.
All right, thank you. So briefly, we have an executive summary about the plan. There is an actual document on the website if you're interested, or there are hard copies available if you can't access that. So for, excuse me, for program year 2022, there's going to be a chart here, and it's going to show what we achieved as far as our consolidated plan goals. Our consolidated plan is a 5-year plan. It goes from 2019 to 2023. So we will be going with an update, I believe, next year. In total, in 2022, the city was allocated $729,700 to spend on eligible activities during the program year period, which ranged from July 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2023. And this formula is calculated through HUD. It's the Department of Housing and Urban Development. Internally, the city administered several programs, including public facility improvements, code enforcement, clearance and demolition, youth and public service activities. Of those funds that were allocated, $451,294, or 61% was drawn down between July 1st, 2020, well, the program year, I'm not going to repeat all that. Oh, hi, Colleen. This is Ms. Gilson, just for minutes. Anyway, in addition to the program year allocation, the city was also awarded COVID funding, and that is used to utilize to prepare, prevent, and respond to issues resulting from the pandemic. Our total allocation for that was $622,050, and we've had 84% of that drawn. At this time, all the COVID funds have been programmed. Just quickly, the national objectives of the CDBG program. It has to meet one of these 3 national objectives in order to be funded, and those 3 objectives are benefiting low and moderate income persons, preventing or eliminating slum and blight, or fix an urgent need. Oh boy, that's hard to see up there. Can you guys see it in your packets okay? Okay, so this is a chart that was done to show what was achieved in the program year 2022. The goal section on the left is the comprehensive plan goal that I was talking about earlier. The allocated is how much has been spent on that project. Indicator indicates how it's measured. Unit of measure, self-explanatory. And then we have these goals that were set in the beginning of the program year. So expected program year, and then what actually happened, and what % of that was completed. So I'll briefly go through this. There's more detail on each of these categories coming up in this presentation. So. For housing, there was about $26,000 allocated, and we expected 4 people to be assisted this year. There was actually 3, and there was a 75% completion rate. There was also $10,000 allocated for fair housing. We didn't have a goal on that. That didn't have a goal area. We had 301 people call, so there isn't a percentage completed on that. Under special needs assistance, there was $62,000 allocated for that. And people that were assisted, we were expected to help 100. We helped 87, so 87% calculated there. Neighborhood stabilization, we have about $13,000 in acquisition funding. We anticipated buying one building, which we did buy. As far as public facilities and infrastructure, we had about $99,000, and we estimated 4,170, and we serve those many people. Those are based off of block groups. Also, under public facilities, there was another one that was activities other than low to moderate housing benefits. There was around $214,000 allocated for that. And it was estimated that 9,037 people were going to be served by that, and that is the goal that we also met. For public services, there was $47,000 allocated for that. We estimated 400 people to be served. We exceeded that one at 539, and that's 134%. That was our youth program. As far as building demolitions, we allocated $36,000, and we estimated 5 buildings. We did 4, so 80% completion. For code enforcement, there was $70,000. We did, well, there was 1,000 people served and 1,026 inspections actually done, so 102% on that. And then we had the response to COVID, so the $120,000 was for $120,528 for that, and that was a mix of programs. I'll go over them in a little more detail here in a minute. But there were 11,340 people served on that. That was the estimate. 11,082 actually were served, so 97%. And then the last category was the housing benefit in response to COVID, and $150,000 was allocated to that. 100 people were estimated to be served, but we actually did 88, so 88%. So this is the information that's on that chart, but it's a little more detailed, if that makes sense. So under housing, that's our main goal through the comprehensive plan. We have an action listed. So the action is what we're trying to achieve. And the action for that was to provide affordable housing and remove barriers for fair housing. And we achieved that through providing leverage for the Erie County Health Department through their lead hazard and healthy homes program. We used 2021 and 2022 program funding in order to remediate 3 houses that had lead paint, and those were rehabilitated. Another accomplishment that we did was to support the engagement of a fair housing consultant. He fielded 81 calls in regards to fair housing questions, and he did several workshops throughout the fiscal year, and $9,000 was spent on that. Any questions? If you guys have any questions and you want to ask, just feel free, please. Special needs assistance, the goal and the action is to promote access to public services for special needs populations, and they are generally assumed to be low to moderate income, and they include but aren't limited to youth, seniors, elderly, veterans, people with mental, physical, and developmental disabilities, alcohol or drug addictions, or other kinds of special needs. So during the program year, the city did accomplish that. They helped 87 people through the Erie County Senior Center Meals on Wheels program, and then also in conjunction with Father's Heart Church Youth Program, there was almost $59,000 allocated to those activities. And on the picture is Mr. Orzik, which is our new city manager, helping out in that program. Moving on to neighborhood stabilization. That's the goal. The action is to enhance the quality of life for people living in low and moderate income neighborhoods. So those are determined through the census, through census tracts, through public investment in facilities, improvements, and services, as well as the elimination of blight. So the city achieved that through working with the Erie County Land Bank. We purchased 1228 Osborne Street, which was a commercial property that had fallen into disrepair. The city land bank actually received that from the county land bank, And then we used CDBG funds to demolish it. We used $147,000 in 2021 clearance and demolition funds. Another accomplishment that was done was the demolition of several buildings. 402 Henry Street, 1817 Pierce, and 1922 Clay were demolished this year. That one was just a garage. There's 2 more units that are slated to be demolished here soon, 736 Park Street and 521 Perry Street. And we have been working with the Erie County Health Department to pay for some of these costs. It covers their grant, and it also helps us out by extending our CDBG dollars. Just with those 3 houses on top that I listed, we saved over $42,000 by partnering. Questions? Comments? Okay. So neighborhood stabilization, this is continued, same goal. The city also allocated money for acquisition. We purchased the former doghouse property. That was at 1002 West Jefferson Street. We used a mix of program year 22 funding and 21, and it was around $100,000. The exact figures are in here. We also utilized COVID public facility money to purchase 3201 West Monroe Street, which was a residential unit in front of the health department and their entranceway. That was demolished also through the land bank, and that was used to help with the new entranceway to the health department. A sidewalk is going to be installed there soon as they get the road improvements done. So the Erie County Health Department will be reimbursing the city for the purchase of that property at 3201 West Monroe, and then those funds will be reprogrammed into the CDBG program. Neighborhood stabilization continued. The city also achieved some accomplishments through $70,000 that was earmarked for code enforcement activities. In total, 1,026 units were inspected in eligible areas. And of the 719 reports, 70% of the inspections resulted in compliance during the records review. So I said during records review because when I review the reports, they may not be done yet, so the number may actually be higher than that. The city also repaired 10 road segments in CDBG eligible areas, about $214,000 in that. And the Daly's parking lot was also redone. That was roughly $99,000, and that assisted over 13,207 people combined. Our youth program assisted 539 youths. That exceeded the expectations. The youth program includes activities such as Make It So Easy and Midtown Supper Club. That was funded at $47,000. Down to the last goal is a response to COVID, and that's the goal. The action is to prepare, prevent, and respond to the coronavirus. Promote safe meal delivery services and assistance to those in need for those who were impacted by the virus. So the city accomplished that goal by assisting 11,082 people through their partnership with various public service groups with COVID funds. These programs and partnerships included Care and Shares, My Choice Food Pantry Box, Father's Heart Church. There was an after-school program and a food pantry program. And OGO, they had a food pantry Be Well program. In total, $120,000 was covered in COVID funds for those programs. The city also worked with the Erie-Huron-Richland County's Community Action Commission to serve 88 people, or 34 households, and they did a mortgage and rental assistance program, and that covered $150,000 in COVID funds. All right, down to the end here. These are our CDBG eligible areas. I know they may not match exactly to what we feel should be, but unfortunately these were the areas given to us by HUD, and they're still accurate as of right now. I checked earlier this week. So the ones in the orange are areas that are eligible, and the ones in gray are ineligible block groups. And I mention that because we were just briefly going to go over targeted areas that were assisted. So there are multiple objectives that projects can fall under when they're listed in the federal software, and I'm not going to bore you with all that, but one of those is LMA, which is low moderate income area. And in the caper, they go over that, the city should be focusing their funding on low and moderate income areas in addition to improving the city as a whole. So during program year 22, the city had 15 projects that benefited low, moderate income persons in LMA areas. The majority of these projects were public facilities, so if we do a road repaving or parking lot, they fall in those areas, and same with code enforcement activities. This does not include CV projects. The target was to have 80% of the projects to be coded as LMA, and we had 75%, so not too bad. So there is a public notice right now for comments on the caper. You may have seen it in the paper, you may see it on our website. The public comment period is open now all the way through, I believe, 9/8. So anything received by 9/8, please put it in writing. There's instructions on there, or you can contact me directly. There will be a public hearing occurring on September 11th at the commission meeting at 5 o'clock in this room. And then we will have to get the caper over to HUD by the end of September in order to get that requirement fulfilled. Oh, well, here we go, all about the public comments. That's my information. If you need anything else, please let me know. Right now, I'll open it up to comments or questions. Nothing. Yep.
My only comment is, that was made last year, is if you take the money and, for instance, we paved the parking lot down here. Yeah, that parking lot was probably in the zone, but it certainly wasn't helping the low income. We need to focus on the low income area of the city, not the downtown area. There's other monies that should be available for that.
Okay, thank you. Can you say your name just, when we record it, it doesn't.
Yes, John Fike.
Thank you. All right. Any other comments?
Jeff Berquist, basically, the reason why you have no low income is because so many people bought up these houses, made them in Airbnbs, and just shot up the prices. My office is right downtown, and I can't believe the prices they're getting for some of the houses you're within a 6-block walk of the water. And it's forcing a lot of these people that those houses normally would have been low to mod are now not.
Yeah, it'll be interesting when they update our map. I'm not sure how accurate this is at this point, but this is what we're required to use.
When will the map be updated, Nicole?
When HUD wants to update it, unfortunately. I'm hoping next year when we go through our comprehensive plan, but it doesn't mean they have to, so. From my understanding, it's when they tell us, here's your updated maps.
So it's not from census to census, it's just
No.
when they choose.
Any other comments, questions? All right. Well, thank you. If you need anything, I'll be here, and feel free to get your public comments in. Thank you.